Welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance. We're a purpose before profit group that help companies scale. We're there for anything, whether you need to talk to somebody, mental health, finances, it don't matter, but give us a shout. Also scrolling across is our new insurance company we launched, the Blockchain Insurance, a traditional insurance company. We have like D&O, cyber, property liability. Reach out if you're in an industry that's misunderstood. We should be able to help you. Also, you'll see scrolling on the bottom a little later is Founders Coffee. Again, for any founder, entrepreneur, come on out every Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. at Red's Diner in Kensington. But hey, I am here to talk about window cleaning and Aiden. And just for a little premises, a big shout out to the Hunter Hub, to what they do, Guy and the entire team there for putting that Start Something Summit together. That's where we met. Aiden won the 10,000 prize that we were, myself, Jaco, and I can't remember the other person that were judging, and you gave an impressive presentation and was rewarded with that. But it's funny how small the world is. In the pre-chat, we were talking about how he played hockey in Saskatchewan in the junior. My brother played in Kindersley. He knows Cade, played with Cade, who played with us. I mean, it's just a small world.
It really is.
I even had to pop out a couple of old jerseys to show you, to prove.
Yeah, it's crazy how we're all connected in some way. But that's the great thing about the game of hockey.
Oh, it is. And as I said, we usually spend time talking business, but we spent most time talking hockey, and I love talking shop and hockey. So it worked out perfect.
That is the best job.
It sure is. Hey, I mentioned that we met at the Hunter Hub at the Start Something, and I wanted to, I love what you said. I started this to learn, and we'll get into that phrase. And that's something that caught my ear right away. And I was like, I love that phrase. And I've never really heard an entrepreneur say that before. So before we get into that, and ExTel and your window cleaning business, I want to learn a little bit more about yours. So why don't you share a little bit about your history, your background, why you started, and why entrepreneurship? Because I've only known one person here, and it's Jason Smith, who now runs a quantum company here, and again a university, who had 4 jobs at a university, and he started his lawn mowing and things like that. So I always think that's something that's very impressive. It's very, very impactful. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I guess as you mentioned, grew up playing hockey just all through the city, went through the Trails West, then up to the Royals, and then found myself in Kindersley, Saskatchewan, which was quite the experience. I went from growing up in the big city of Calgary to moving out to Kindersley, Saskatchewan, where my one request was, when I got out there, was I wanted to live on a farm. So I ended up living on the Cullen farm with Mike Cullen on a 6,000 acre grain farm, which that was so foreign to me. I got out there and it was all about the combines and the augers, and just you had the bin yard, and it was so crazy. But I think that's kind of where it started, because you got there and I was all alone. And the great thing is, you asked about kind of where it started. We were hanging out one night at the end of the season, and we were all going home, getting ready to go home, and we had to I'll go find a summer job. And the previous year, I had some buddies doing window cleaning, and I jumped on with them, and I was strictly washing windows. They were just kind of paying me cash under the table, and I was like,
Yep.
this is pretty wicked. But I really do think I could start my own thing. So I kind of threw the idea out there. Next thing I knew, I had, I think, 7 friends and my sister being like, can I have a job? And so I bought a few setups, and we knew nothing. We just started going out, knocking doors, and we'd knock doors in the morning, wash windows in the afternoon, and we just kind of did that Monday through Friday. And it got to the point where we'd meet up in the morning and we'd play like 30 minutes of hacky sack, kind of just chop it up as you and I just were. And then we'd just get on the doors and just kind of just made memories and hustled together that way. And then you fast forward, we're finally in year 4, and I've kind of taken a bit of a different approach, just through what I've learned through not only school, through Haskeen, but also you mentioned the Hunter Hub, which that's really what kind of gave me the confidence and kind of what made me step back and look at this business in a different way and be like, I have the foundation of something here that I am able to scale and kind of grow. And you mentioned that learning, and I've when I guess to touch into that, a lot of my friends and my peers, they went and they got internships, but the one thing I loved was just like kind of the hustle and the unknown, where every day like we went out and there's $0 in your pocket at the start of the day, but it sure felt pretty damn good when you had a few $100 at the end of the day, right? So I think that's kind of where it started.
I love that, and again, kudos to you. It's not easy starting a business, especially something from scratch.
Mhm.
And saying like any other guy can go out, get a job, be a summer. I mean, our daughter's in university. She worked at the Cactus Club for years. Now she's working at the Country Hills Golf Course. But I think it would be very hard for someone like her. Maybe not. I don't know. She's never expressed that kind of interest. But how like uh, you made it sound easy, right? Like you made it sound like, oh, we're just going to go and do this. But why don't you share like the struggle of starting that off, of just saying, hey, I gotta go bang on doors. I gotta go sell. Like I know it's not as easy as you made it sound. So why don't you talk about a little
Mhm.
bit of that first year and how it went?
Yeah, well, like you said, that first year we knew nothing. None of us really like ever door knocked, but we were just a group of like hockey boys, and well, you get it. Like we're we're a fun group of guys, and we know how to chop it up together. So we kind of took that, and that's what we did at the door. Like it wasn't always just about maybe making that next sale, but what I've always told them from the very beginning is it's just like let's go have a conversation with someone. It doesn't. We're not here to be a pushy or aggressive because I know a lot of door knockers kind of get that persona, and there's some even communities in Calgary that aren't even worth knocking because they have so many door knockers that are pushy. So the biggest thing to us was just going out and starting a conversation, and then through that, like you look a year after moving into our second year, there was like a few of the guys that I had my first year that wanted to come back, but all they wanted to do was sell. So that's when I learned, okay, like that's when we had to start hiring guys who were dedicated just washers, like dedicated to just washing the windows, because the guys they weren't just only enjoying the door knocking so much, but they were getting really good at it, where they were securing not only one or two, but 5 or 6 jobs a day, right? So I think where it all started was almost like just sh- throwing it around in the dressing room. We kind of just took that to the doorstep and tried to do that with strangers, and we did have our fair share of, like, people slamming the doors in our face and maybe being told to pound sand, like but for every no we had, there was eventually a yes, and that's, like that is kinda what it is on the doors. It's really just a numbers game. How many doors can you
It
knock till you
is.
get that till that yes, right?
Absolutely. Well, I love that, right? And to this day, we doesn't matter if it's your business or B2B SaaS tech, it is about pounding sales and getting
Mhm,
sales and numbers and numbers and numbers and sometimes entrepreneurs forget that. So sharing that, I really do appreciate that. You did mention the Hunter Hub and the
mhm,
confidence, and it's something about Alberta that is great are the people in our community. And you said, in our pre-conversation, you said, "Oh my God, the amount of people that reached out after that Start Something event." And Guy's been here for well over a year in the Hunter Hub, and obviously, I'm a big fan of Derek and the entire family. But why don't you share a little bit about that confidence that Hunter Hub gave you, being around other entrepreneurs, or just being around people, like-minded people that are driven, that's giving you, that confidence to, get to year 2 to 3 to 4.
mhm. Well, I guess it kinda goes back to my first year university. I wasn't actually a UC student. I went to Vancouver Island University out in Nanaimo, and I was living with one of my best buddies, but at the end of that year, we decided to come home because we both wanted to take a bit of different paths. And when I transferred to UC, I was in open studies, but told myself 2 things. I wanted to get involved kind of in the entrepreneurial, landscape there because we are one of the top entrepreneurial thinking schools, and the resources are it's it's unlimited. Like, we have as a student at U of C, you have every resource to succeed. But then, so I told myself 2 things. I wanted to get involved in entrepreneurship in one way, and I wanted to do a study abroad. And fast forward, I guess, to today, I've uh, kind of got involved in that entrepreneurial landscape, and I'm just gearing up to go on my study abroad this upcoming fall. But I guess talking about the Hunter Hub, when I first, my mom, who actually works at UFC in the alumni office, she was the one that introduced me to it and set me up with Ashley there, and we just had a little discussion. And Ashley was so great because she came up running a landscaping business, and that's how we kind of related. Because landscaping, window washing isn't the same, but it's a service business, right? So we were able to relate in that way. And from there, she started to introduce me to all the different programs and resources that the Hunter Hub had to offer. So this past year, I decided to apply for the business playbook program, not really knowing what it would do for me. But what I guess to explain what the business playbook program is it was an 8 week cohort that they have each semester, and it's for startup businesses. So we were a room of entrepreneurs who, some of us just had an idea, some of us were in those early stages, or there was guys like me who were a year or two in that were just trying to learn how to scale, how to kind of bring this business to the next level. And through those 8 weeks, it gave me an opportunity to kind of sit back and look at the business and be like, this isn't just something that I can do with my buddies in the summer, but I've actually built the foundation and a reputable business kind of within within Calgary that like people want to call us out. And but how can I make this to increase our capacity so we're not just washing 4 or 5 houses a day? Now we're washing 10 to 12 a day, right? And I think without the business playbook and having that dedicated time to look at my business, it like none of it would have been possible.
No, and again, being around like-minded people and having somebody,
Mm,
I mean, your mom being there and saying, "Hey, go check this out." And I mean, again, I 450-ish episodes. I say this every episode. Our ecosystem is so collaborative, and it's everybody's
mm,
there to help. And if I don't know somebody, I can introduce you to somebody that can help, and so forth. And that's what makes the Hunter Hub. And again, I'm a huge fan. Worked there a lot, spent there a lot, spoke there a lot, and it is so important into our ecosystem as this platform and any of the hubs that we have out there. So when you
mm,
started this, when I first met you and you were on stage and you said, "I want to learn," and
mm.
again, that that kind of it still gives me goosies here, like when I hear that. And so, what does that phrase mean when you said, "I want to learn"? I mean, obviously, you're a summer, you got to make money, all the things that come with it. But what did that phrase mean to you?
I know, again, back from when we always have this discussion, I kind of have this operations mindset, but I didn't really know how to use it. But I love kind of figuring things out. And when I had this chance, it was like I wasn't only able just to learn how to maybe sell a product at the door, which honestly that's a pretty challenging thing, but I was also able to learn how to manage a team. And I think that kind of comes from my hockey roots. I was kind of always a captain on the team, but not always the most vocal, but kind of more of a silent leader. When it comes to the learning, like I would believe I don't want to be the smartest in the room. Like we've said it many times. It's all about like who you know and who you can learn from. And I thought if I was to start my own thing, I'm not only going to be kind of like building myself, but I'm also building kind of my network, but also like people around me. So I was able to learn from all the guys I employed who at the beginning were all my buddies. Like some of them, they when we started on the doors, they hit the ground running. They were so good. And honestly, I struggled at the beginning. So it's like instead of just going out there and just like not telling anyone that, I said to some of these guys, Kyler and Logan, like, hey guys, like I'm struggling here. Can you show me a couple tips? And so just from that early experience, it was like they gave me a couple lines that they found that worked. And then I went and applied it and it was like, oh crap, like that really did work. And next thing you know, instead of having one sale a day, I had 3 sales a day. So then when I moved into the next year, it was like, hey, like I looked back. Well, I guess the biggest example would be in the first few years, like I mentioned, we did all of our selling in the morning, all of our washing in the afternoon. But then looking back at it, it's like, why would we be doing that? Because we started on when COVID hit and everyone was home. And it was easy because everyone was working from home. We could have all those interactions throughout the midday hours. But now we're kind of back to a more traditional work schedule, and I've learned that the time to knock is kind of that 4 to 7 or kind of 3 to 7 in the afternoon. So now instead we're selling all of our jobs in the afternoon for the next day or the next couple following days. It's like those are just those little things that I think without actually doing it, I would have never realized.
I live and learn, right?
Exactly.
It's trial and error, right? I mean, that's just, you never know, right? How things are going to work or what works for you. And again, it doesn't matter what industry it's in. If you can't, you go like, I get angry, or not angry, but when somebody says, "Oh, find your one ICP or find your one client and just go after that client," I was like, "Well, that might be your wrong client, right? You might be selling
Mhm,
at the wrong time. Maybe like you said, you figured it out, and then all of a sudden, wow, then we're having more success."
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Now I want to expand on that. So when you say you started to learn, and now you're growing and you're into year 4, you said you take a team out to Kindersley for a handful of weeks and pound on the town and do a whole whack of houses. So what have you learned in the last, let's call it, 4 years from start to today, that has really helped you not only in, as a person, but in your schooling and maybe what you want to do in your next phase of life? Is this something that you think that you can continue to do and grow?
I definitely think it may not always be the window washing. Like I'm not going to be
Yeah.
washing windows forever, but I do think what I've learned is that I've been able to build a foundation, but then I also know that I can't do it myself. There's areas in the business that I still to this day, like I don't want to say I lack, but they're not my strengths. So, for
Yeah.
example, the bookkeeping, that is my strongest suit. I'm not an accountant or finance student, so it's like, but I've also been able to recognize that, and going into next year, that would be someone I'd be looking to bring in. Where even this year, I'm not great at the social media side and kind of the graphic design. Where I have a buddy now he's creating those graphics and he's kind of running my social media, kind of doing those weekly posts or whatnot. But I also knew that I wasn't able to kind of juggle everything because there are a lot of moving pieces. But then I've also known it's about kind of who you surround yourself with, and that I can't do it alone. I
Yeah.
think that was kind of the biggest thing I've learned over the last few years because I think when I first began, there was like you kind of did chase the money, and that's what we all did. But then now it's like, "Oh, we actually have a legit business here." But it's like, what who can I bring in to not just help myself, but how can I help them, right? And I think that's been the biggest thing for this year is finding the right people where I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm not running the doors. I'm more the guy sitting in the background, scheduling the jobs, kinda making sure I have the right people in the right spot at the right time. So whether that is my team is sales reps, like making sure they're in the right communities at that 3 o'clock start time, or like for the 10 jobs we have lined up today, like we have our customers who are relying on us, and someone has to be the one scheduling and making sure those people are there not only at the right time but also with the right tools so that they're also able to succeed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think that was a fantastic answer, Aiden. I'm talking with Aiden Bangs of ExTel Window Solutions. Again, click on the website in the chat. It'll take you directly there. You can schedule. If you want, reach out to Aiden directly. I, that answer was actually perfect because what you just said is what every single founder goes through, and it doesn't matter if it's Windows or B2B SaaS or CPG, right? They have to
Mhm.
figure out how to actually get, how to learn, how to move it forward, how to do it, and whether or not it's, you keep this going, or whether or not you find somebody and sell it to them and say, hey, you just take it over and run it, or God, maybe if Guy's listening, maybe it's a program we run out of the Hunter Hub as a solution that the university takes over, and to use it as a business
Mhm.
case to help teach university students on how to properly run a business. And
Yeah.
and I mean, then you'll move into the old alumni program with Jeff Wallace
Mhm.
and go from there, right? So, I mean, I think there's so many opportunities moving forward here, but what you just said is what every single entrepreneur goes through. I'm not a finance guy. I'm not this guy. And you've learned to be a jack of all trades. You don't have to be a master of them, but as you grow, you add the pieces, and that's how your business grows.
Exactly, and that's kind of the exciting part. Like, even I've been having people ask me like, "Oh, are you gonna do this again next year?" And because it did begin on a year-to-year basis, I'd say, but now it's kind of at the point where even if when I come out of school in the fall 2027, if I jump on with whatever company and just try to get some industry experience in whatever industry that's going to be, I still have this gig that I can still run passively because I think I've built it to the right point, and I got the right people on my team right now that if we can just continue to build and continue to bring in those right people, that I don't see why I couldn't run this for the next kind of 3-4 years and just kind of see where that takes me, right?
Well, yeah, right. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you let it ride and see where it takes you. Because I truly, one of the hardest things that students have, and as at our gym here at the Edgemont Athletic, I have a lot of the kids that are on squash scholarships or out east, and they're like, "Hey, I got to find a summer job. I need an internship. I need this," and it is hard to find. It's competitive to get a job or an internship or something out there. So having create something yourself again is so impressive in my eyes, and I can't even tell you that. And as soon as you started talking, I was like, okay, I love it. Like, you had me, right? And because I know how hard it is. I know how to bang, it's bang your head against the wall. Okay, did I make a bad decision here? Am I going to waste a summer and have no money? Right? Like,
mhm, yeah,
even one summer, I ended up like I did door to door, like after I dropped out university, or between high school and university. It was, I dropped off books and went to business to business to business, and tried to pick up book sales. So I know what it's like to have somebody to tell you where to go when you walk in the
mhm.
door. It's not fun.
No, it can't be, but you got to go in with a little bit of swagger, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, and again, I think that's where that hockey personality comes in. You're like,
Mm,
hey, right? Away you go, right?
yeah,
It's, and even
part of it.
if I answer the door, it's totally different from what if my wife answers the door. Two total different
Mhm.
conversations are going to happen here.
I know, and it's kind of learning how to navigate those conversations and picking up on the cues, whether that is kind of the cue to maybe we love to say smoke screen the first no, but
Yeah,
then it's kind of taking the cue where you're either pushing where you maybe have the sale or it's time to walk away, right? And it's all dependent on the
yeah,
person on the other end.
yeah. I, and a lot of the times when we get knocked on the door, I don't want to say I humor them, because that's a wrong thing. I just want to see how kind of salesperson they are. Because again,
Mm,
I dropped out of university, got into sales, and here I am today. So I'm a career sales guy, and I love it. So I want to see what this person has, how they can sell, what they're type of doing, and sometimes I give them some advice.
mhm. Yeah, here's a couple
But I'm
pointers.
not buying from you. But hey, I would probably go this route next time.
Mhm. Or even that could be more valuable than a sale though, right? For
Yeah,
some
you never
guys.
know. Yeah, maybe. No, this is impressive. So I want to know, like, I know we kind of touched on what it might turn into, and you were going to hopefully run it till you're done in 2027. But I know, do you really think that this is something that you can continue and do as a side thing? And I want to kind of just get you to elaborate on
Mm,
that a little bit. But I also want to elaborate on what, if you come out of school and just say that you are not going to do this anymore, what are your aspirations, for yourself?
I mean, I do know I know right now I am, but one day I would love like I'm gonna run a business. Like I love working for myself. I love also being able to kind of provide for others. Like right now I have I think 8 university students and it's like I've been able to give them a summer job and it's like I think that's pretty cool that I've been able to kind of provide for myself, but also kind of provide for them. And some of them it's been a few years. I guess when I look at the business, you could say in the next 2, 3, 4 years, I think what I am interested in is adding like a low cost like an additional service, and I've kind of been experimenting with a couple, whether that is kind of maybe other surface cleanings or bin cleaning, or I know like gutter cleaner. The biggest one I have is interior window cleaning. So I think moving into next year, that is kind of one step I'd like to take, whether that is maybe I just like buy a pressure washer and I start doing some driveway cleaning or maybe bin cleaning, go from there. I think looking coming out of school, I'm still unsure, but I think like my dream would to if I could like go work for the Flames for a couple years doing whatever they need me to do. God, I'd be a janitor at the new Scotia place if I have to be. But I think if I could go get some type of industry experience, I'd love to like work in sports for a couple years. But then I think my long term, I'm gonna be running my own thing and kind of whether that is kind of expanding on the window, the service, like a service business like this, or it might take me down a completely different avenue. I'm not. I wish I had the exact answer, but I'd like to kind of just continue taking it with an open mind and see where this ExTel can take me. Because if I look back 4 years ago, I sure didn't think it'd be even like bring me here today. So.
No, and I think that's a great answer, right? Like,
Mhm.
you never know where it's going to take you. You know, it might expand, it might turn into something. You might have a big company come in and saying, "Hey, who's these little guys taking this away?" And they stroke you a check to get your business, and all of a sudden you have like, "Hey, I got another idea," and away you go. So you never know what the future holds. And I love that fact that you have an open mind to running it, and you have an open mind to say, "Hey, just in case, I've got other plans as well."
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm also taking a pretty unique concentration through Haskeen. I'm in the entrepreneurship and innovation with the embedded certificate in entrepreneurial thinking. And there's when I walk around the halls and I'm talking to my peers at school, there's not many of us in that concentration. So it is a bit niche, but it's also I've been able to develop a lot of these skills and like learn a lot of these skills that have been able to teach me how to run a successful business. And it's like I am doing it on a small scale, but I would say, at least in Southwest Calgary, like we kind of dominate this area and all the way up to the northwest. And it's like that I've been able. I'd say we've been able to take over this kind of side of the city. It's like, okay, well, next year, what if my focus is now the southeast? And we just keep. Maybe we are that company that starts to take out the little guys, right? And we
Yeah.
continue to build. Or who knows, maybe a bigger company comes in and takes me out, and like you said, I move on to my next venture.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great attitude.
Mm,
I love
yeah,
it, right? Again, I mean, again, you've heard me say this, but I mean, kudos to you for doing this. I mean, you have anything you need from me or any introductions you need from me, you just let me know. And
thank
guys
you.
like Ian Macdonald and Dennis that were at that were at the Start Something Summit there, they're like, oh my God. They're like, and of course, the first question I asked you was to come on this show. And I wanted to get you on
Thank
right away because, it's window washing season. I didn't want to wait till the fall when
you.
you
Mhm.
might not be
Yeah,
banging on doors. So I appreciate you coming on here. So
I
thank you for
appreciate you
that.
having me. Anytime.
Oh, for sure. But I do have, and I'm really excited. I've asked this question 450-ish times, and I'm excited to hear your answer because I think it's going to be unique. But if you had one piece of advice for somebody, an entrepreneur, to start their business or get it off the ground, what would that be?
I kind of take two things. I think one, just with like the hard work that hockey kind of instilled in me, would be the just do it. Like one day I just put my head down and I said, kind of screw it. I'm gonna do this thing. But then the second one, I actually have it tattooed on my leg, is you live and you learn. And I think that was kind of a main topic of this discussion, that like if I never started this, I would have never seen where it took me and kind of what it's taught me. And I think the biggest thing is like you truly do, you live and you learn. And that'd be kind of my number one piece of advice for someone that's like looking to start something.
I love that. I love that. See, I wasn't wrong. You live and you learn. And it's funny that you
Mhm.
say, I mean, I got a tattoo back in 89 on my upper thigh for when we were playing hockey.
Mm.
And for when I went to Notre Dame, our motto was Luctor Emergo. It's on the coat of arms there, and that means struggle and emerge. And that's something that I wanted to get on me as a tattoo, but I'm not really a tattoo guy. But I live like that because I think there's a struggle, and you emerge, and I mean that's something that like you live and you learn. I said I love that as well. So thank you for sharing that, because I think it's important for people to hear. And I think your story is something that's very impressive, and I know the whole team at the Hunter Hub should be shouting you and what you're doing from the mountaintop, because it should be used as an inspiration for every single student that comes out of there, not only in the fact that you were able to do it and become successful, but in my opinion, it's something that's not tech, because everybody sits there and talk tech, 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 right? But some of the best businesses, all my businesses have almost been non-tech, all kind of those types of businesses. And people forget that those are the businesses, whether it be like a David at Karma Camper Vans, who a USC alumni is growing that into a national company, and eventually will go into the United States. Like those companies sometimes get forgot in our ecosystem when all the focus is on tech. So for you to do something like this, it's even more awesome in my mind.
Oh, well, thank you. I know I heard something recently, and it said that this may not be the sexiest business, but it works, and it's a service that people need, right? And
Yeah.
that's the great thing. It's like like I said, there's a reason that we're getting these 10 to 12 jobs a day. It's because one, we do fantastic work, and two, it's people need their windows washed, whether that's the apartment complex down the street or the neighbor, right?
Yeah. Right. And the story that you're probably telling at the door, that you're a student founded out of the University of Calgary, you're employing 8 students. I mean, all that goes hand in hand. That resonates with somebody like myself, right? Like I can tell you, my wife graduated from U of S, and if she came to me and said, "Hey, I got this company, I want to clean the windows, you don't have to go up there." They're out of the University of Calgary and they're 8 students, she probably would have had me there, right? Like
Mhm.
it's a story that you're telling. It's what you did, and I know that you're going to have continued success with this. So I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me out, and also just the kind words. Thank you.
No, I really appreciate it. And again, anybody wants any information on ExTel, just click on the comments section in the website, or it'll just take you directly to the website. And Aiden, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. And like I said, anything you need from me or anybody that I tag in this on LinkedIn, you make sure you reach out, and that our community will be there for you. And anything that you need, when you need that bookkeeper, you reach out to one of us. We have a whole list of people that will do it for not a big number.
Awesome. Well, I'm very happy to be a part of the community, and yeah, I'm just kind of looking forward to what the next where the next stage takes me. So thank you very much. And if you don't mind, I did want to just say thank you to a couple people. I think the biggest one is this year, the person who instilled the confidence in me was my through the business playbook was my coach, Sanjeevani, and everyone else at the Hunter Hub. That is, if you're a student at UFC, I go look into the Hunter Hub if you don't know what it is, because it's not just a great space. There's just great people there. And then second, my mom and dad were the ones who gave me the startup fund. They gave me $1,000 a few years back to buy my first setup, and who knew that $1,000 would bring me here today. And then next would be the buddies that just jumped on with me, because they trusted me in the beginning, and there's some of them are still trusting me today. And finally, my girlfriend Sydney, she does a lot of behind the scenes work, and I yeah that stuff doesn't. I just really appreciate all that. So I just wanted to say thank you to all those people, and I'm
And
looking forward to kind of where this is going to take us all next. So here we go.
I think that even shows more of your character, right? I usually never say it takes a village, but it always does. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's a little, whether it's a little bit of a cash or it's a little bit of this. I mean, it's everybody had somebody step up and help them at a moment in their lives that they'll never forget. So kudos to giving those shout outs.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and yeah, thank you to everyone. And just I'm really excited to be a part of this community now, and I look forward to kind of the connections I start to build from here.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you out more. And again, for people like yourself or any other entrepreneur out there, you want to come down to Founders Coffee every Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. at Reds. It's a great place to meet like-minded people. And again, I've got one more. John Hetherington's coming on next week. And then I'm going to be off for the rest of the summer. I'll be back in September. I got to get my time at the lake and eat some walleye. So that's my happy place. Get away,
Jealous.
head back to Sask.
Oh, beautiful Saskatchewan. Enjoy it.
Exactly. All right. Well, again, Aiden, thank you very much for coming on. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Wednesday, recovers a little bit from a 10